Welcome back and hello if you're new. So today I'm going to be reviewing an album that really took me by surprise. If you guys watch the channel regularly, then you'll know that I try not to pigeonhole myself with any one genre. I had never heard Halestorm before, but I have to say from what I heard on their brand new album, I was absolutely hooked. So without further ado, this week's review is Halestorm's brand new album, Vicious. So the first thing that struck me with Vicious was the element of songwriting. The band were incredibly critical of the recording and actually scrapped things and went back to the drawing board. And you can really see that here on the way that the songwriting is presented. For example, in Black Vultures, the final section of that track has the absolutely massive chorus, but then they add the element of drums and it gives it a bit more aggression and a bit more pace to it. Or for example, the pre-chorus that goes into the chorus in Buzz is absolutely genius songwriting because it flows exactly how you would expect it to and creates, again, you know, this sense of tension. And the single Uncomfortable has got the characteristics of pop, but with this kind of alternative style slant on it, especially in the verse. The bridge section of Uncomfortable does somewhat come out of nowhere, but because it's so well written, it works and it has that element of sticking out, but because it should stick out rather than sticking out for all the wrong reasons, if you understand what I mean. For example, a slower track, White Dress, has got these real small nuances to do with the guitar and Lizzie's vocals, and the two work really well hand in hand. Lyrically, the album represents themes of self-empowerment, in particular the song I just mentioned, White Dress. You've got to remember the platform that Halestorm have and how many young people are influenced by their music. But the band also don't compromise on the heavy aspects, and I think this is probably one of the bits which really surprised me because I wasn't certain that it would be as heavy as it is. For example, there are some really cool bends on Uncomfortable midway through the song, where it kind of brings this groove aspect to it. There's also another groove element later on in the album on Painkiller, but one of the riffs that really stuck out for me was Uncomfortable's first riff. You know, it almost sounds like the beginning of, I don't know, like maybe Lamb of God, but with slightly less teeth. And that was a real surprise to me because I thought, you know, nowhere near would this band go this heavy. However, what I was absolutely blown away by, and I have to say is probably somewhat of the charm behind Halestorm, is Lizzie Hale's vocals. I have not heard vocals this good in a very long time. Not only has she got so much power behind her voice, but there's this dynamic range that she can basically move from seamlessly. For example, there's this massive opening section in Skulls where she just screams Skulls, but then in the verse section it's got this, it's almost like Red Hot Chili Peppers style delivery, you know, quite quick and almost a little bit like rapping, I guess, but not quite there. And Black Vultures, again, is another standout moment for Hale's vocals because they're just absolutely massive and they make these choruses sound even bigger than they are even with the instruments. Another favourite is Killing Ourselves to Live, which has this massive chorus where Hale kind of screams out this, "Here we are!" And it really hits home, I guess. And another example of those huge wailing vocals is in Heart of Novocaine, and The Silence as well, where the acoustic section just drops out and she's got this massive vocal line. But again, there are some absolutely fantastic unpredictable sections in terms of songwriting, which I thought was really interesting. For example, the dropout and the acoustic bridge section in Uncomfortable, which, you know, given the song's context, you wouldn't exactly think that would be part of the song. The chorus of the self-titled track as well, Vicious, has got this real kind of big sense to it, and it kind of comes out of nowhere, especially with where the pre-chorus was heading. And the bridge on Vicious as well is incredibly metallic, which creates a nice contrast against the song. There's also some really cool little Easter eggs. For example, there's a talk box which was used on Buzz. One of my favourite sections on Vicious has got to be in Killing Ourselves to Live, where it almost goes quite gothic and Avenged Sevenfold for a bridge. But it's got this amazing triplet guitar rhythm and then comes in with this massive solo, which again, I was not expecting whatsoever. In terms of the negatives, I will be honest, there were some bits which were a little bit too cheesy for me. But then you have to remember that this is probably not aimed at necessarily me. And this is also, I feel, a very personal album for Lzzy Hale. It just kind of lost me, you know, because I feel that overall the album has got a real sense of, you know, self-empowerment and, you know, being who you are. And then you're kind of just talking about hooking up with someone. In terms of the artwork, I really liked the artwork. I thought it was a really interesting take on kind of the classic pop album cover. And I think the way that the photo's been composed and also the way it's been shot is really, really great. I'm sure that a lot of 20-something blokes will no doubt prefer Cannibal Corpse and things like that. But that's totally okay, because Halestorm aren't that kind of band. You know, this is American rock radio at its finest, and that's totally okay. The band are easily a huge gateway band and will no doubt appeal to a very, very large and probably younger fan base. And overall, the album did suffer a little bit, but the songwriting is strong enough for it to be redeemed. And, you know, I'm 27 and I love really extreme genres, and I found that there was something to really take away from this album. So I really hope you guys give it a listen, see what you think. So for that reason, I'm going to give Halestorm's Vicious a 3.5 skulls out of 5. Halestorm's brand new album Vicious is set for a July 27th release via Atlantic, and you can pre-order a copy right underneath me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next week for another album review. Alright, thanks for watching.